This is 10-year-old plantation Agarwood. Okay. And the clean powder looks like this. Hello everyone, this is Ensar. I'm here in Vietnam as I promised, and I'm here to show you something about the reality of Agarwood on the ground in Vietnam. We're in Ho Chi Minh City at one broker's place, and there are dozens and dozens of brokers just like this here. I just want you to have a grasp of the reality on the ground, what it looks like, what the wood looks like, what the marketing is, what the reality is, and how all that affects you as a consumer. Look at this box. This is an entire box, over 20 kilograms of supposedly black looking, well resonated, potentially even wild, if the marketer so feels inclined to brand it, Agarwood. Okay, now if you look at this is just astonishing, because it's impossible for all this to be coming from wild trees in Vietnam. If you go anywhere else like Cambodia or Hainan or wherever, okay, this type of wood is clearly cultivated. Okay, however here market demand, okay, impacts what the offer is. Okay, so it's like it impacts the way that the product is packaged and the way it is branded. Okay, not everything is what it is advertised to be. So what you've got here, okay, this is 100% plantation Agarwood, not necessarily from a systematic plantation effort like we have in Thailand. However, these trees are, I've been told by reliable sources, from 5 to 7 years old. Okay, and you can get this type of resin from them. Okay, just look here. Anywhere you go and you look at wood like this, okay, you'd be fooled, I mean, that this is wild harvested. Okay, however, this broker, has been honest with us and said these are cultivated trees. This batch here is presented as wild. Now let's analyze this for a bit. Let's take a closer look. Okay, wood that looks like this, if it is wild and it is Vietnamese, would sell for tens of thousands of dollars a kilogram. Okay, that's the reality of this agarwood. Vietnamese agarwood is the most sought after agarwood in the world, if it is genuine, old stock, wild Vietnamese wood. Okay, now here you have a very decent piece, okay, of Vietnamese wood, and guess how much the price is for this. Okay, this wood sells for $800 US a kilogram. Okay, that is the price. You can potentially buy it. We can buy it. We can smash it. We can grind it. Okay, we can get a really nice brown looking paste in the water, and we can tell you, look at our wild harvested Nha Trang Vietnamese oil that's being cooked right now. That, my friends, would be a marketing story. That would be a fiction. It would be something that I told you in order to sell you something. Okay, the reality of this wood is quite different. This is from very young trees, despite what the marketer wants to say. Okay, and if you come closer, okay, you can take a look exactly at what type of wood this is on the inside. Okay, look here. All right, this is kin. Okay, this is kin. What you have here is a very thin sa'a layer. Okay, if you put this on the burner, you'll get some kind of smell. If you put it on very low heat, you'll get a very nice smell. The truth, it's not what old, wild Vietnamese agarwood used to be. It is a very different product. We can stretch the use of terminology. We can say that, okay, this is wild now, and if this is wild now, what we had yesterday was super wild, or something else. It's not the same thing. The word wild here is being used very loosely, and this is what I have been arguing on the internet very unsuccessfully, due to the obstinacy of certain people that have been told these stories and they bought them, and now it's what the old axiom says, that it is easier to lie to people than to convince them that they've been lied to. Okay, I'm not telling you you've been lied to, not intentionally. Okay, let's say that the person who told you that doesn't know the reality on the ground the way that we do. Okay, and he just took the word of the vendor that sold him that wood. However, okay, if we look at this wood, okay, it is clear. Okay, this wood is hollow. There's nothing inside here. Okay, the only thing that this can be triggered is by some kind of triggering mechanism inside the tree. Okay, if this was real wild Vietnamese, even with this type of hollowness, the smell would be from another world. It wouldn't be this type of smell, even though this is an excellent smell. This is an excellent smell, and oils distilled from this will be very good quality oils. That is undeniable. Is it wild in the sense that the old school oils of decades ago were wild? It's not the same thing. It's not the same product. This is new age Agarwood, okay, and it's a product. This is a market. There is demand, and obviously there's going to be supply. Everybody wants wild Vietnamese Agarwood, and they're happy believing that they got it if they're supplied with this product. $800 a kilogram. Meanwhile, just think about this, okay? This same broker has Sri Lankan Agarwood for sale. Has Sri Lankan Agarwood for sale. And that wood, okay, it looks a lot smaller than this, okay? Contains more sa. Okay, that wood goes for $7,000 a kilogram. 7,000 for thin, small, broken chips. Okay, they didn't give us the permission to showcase that in the video. We had to ask their permission to show all of this. Okay, however, that wood is 7,000, and the pieces, they look something like this. Okay, this is what they look like. Different shapes. Okay, this look at how standard this wood is. It's all the same kind of cut, the same type of resin, the same look, the same feel. This is a manufactured product. Okay, this cannot escape you that this is how it is. This is the case here. Okay, this is something tailored to fulfill market demand, is what we're looking at. The Sri Lankan wood, okay, everything is different. Every little chip is a different shape, it's a different color, it's a different weight, it's a different smell. That's what wild Agarwood is like. The Sri Lankan wood is the true wild wood. Okay? And the Vietnamese one is what people are manufacturing, if you will, in the forests in order to fulfill a market demand. It is very, very easy, very, very easy to get a hold of shavings from this wood, from the cleaning of this wood. Okay, and to distill it artisanally, and for it to smell wonderful. That is very, very easy to do. The difficult thing to do is to find genuine, old growth, ancient Vietnamese wild Agarwood and to distill it. It's not only difficult, it's impossible. It's impossible because the meaning of the term has changed. The term is not used as it used to be used in the past. So now this is wild in the sense that, okay, this is the wild of today. But if this is wild, then the Sri Lankan that I looked at must be something else. Because this is, I don't know how, this is a couple $100, okay. This one here is 800. This one here is 550. There you go, $550, cultivated Agarwood. Okay, and the Sri Lankan, okay, is 7,000. And that's if you buy over 10 kilograms. 7,000 a kilo if you buy 10 to 11 kilograms, which is the availability here. Okay, so if that is wild, and it's 7,000, and it looks like this, and this is Vietnamese, okay, this is like the top of the top. How can this be a couple of hundred? You ask yourself, am I here to assassinate anybody's character? Am I here to launch a smear campaign and say so and so intentionally marketed something in this way in order to mislead people? That's not my intention. That's not my intention. My intention is to tell you the reality on the ground. If I see a discrepancy with what is being marketed and what is the actuality on the ground here, which is known to everybody who comes to Vietnam, you can expect me to say something about it. And I think you should expect me to say something about it. And I think you should thank me for saying something about it, instead of, which is very easy to do, just ignore the situation, not say anything, and then you can believe what you like and pay your hard-earned money for something that's being misrepresented, that's being marketed disingenuously, is being marketed in a very misleading way that doesn't jive with the truth on the ground. To me, it's like something, it's like a farmed salmon. You know, it's like, okay, it tastes the same, the flesh is pink, it's delicious, you can make sushi with it, you can make sashimi with it. However, is it wild salmon? Is it the real deal? I mean, it just isn't. And the wild salmon has its price, and the farmed salmon has its price. And the wild salmon has its health benefits, and the farmed salmon has its health detriments. Okay, so I am here to document this at no benefit to me financially. I get nothing. This is not a marketing campaign. Some people accuse me of the ugliest marketing campaign ever. Okay, this is not a marketing campaign. This is an anti-marketing campaign. This is a campaign to document the truth. This is a pain in the ass documentary, which some people won't like, okay? But it's one of those things that exposes what the reality is on the ground, and whoever doesn't like it, well, they can just keep digging their head in the ground and saying, well, no, it's wild because that's what I was told. Okay, we can call it wild. Okay, the truth is it's not the same as the wild Agarwood of yesteryear. It is a different product. This is something manufactured to fulfill market demand. This is being supplied to fulfill demand. The other one is just there in God's green jungle, just standing there, not bothering anyone, not triggered by anyone. It's just doing its thing. You can't find that anymore. That is gone. What you have here is something that is the direct result of human intervention. You don't have to call it plantation, you can call it natural, you can call it, you can even call it wild, okay? But it's not the same. There's a big difference between the Sri Lankan wood that I was shown, which is about 40,000 bucks for several kilos, 7,000 a kilogram, okay? And this, which you can buy for several $100s a kilogram, okay? It's a different product. It's a different product. And you're very welcome. You know, I did this not in order to sell you anything, but I did this in order to educate, in order to teach you the truth, and for you to understand and appreciate what we take here as a common knowledge on the ground. Okay, nobody is foolish enough to believe that this is true wild harvested Vietnamese agarwood when you have all the biggest tycoons of the Chinese market flying to Saudi Arabia and the Emirates and Qatar and Kuwait in order to buy back every single splinter of wild Vietnamese agarwood that they can find, even if it's painted and polished and varnished and buffed and embellished the way they do in the Gulf. They will buy every single iota of agarwood from Vietnam, from Saudi. How come they're doing it if there's so much wild agarwood in Vietnam? How come they're flying to Saudi with millions and millions in their bank account ready to pay out these Saudi people to sell them back their agarwood, okay, if all this wild agarwood is readily available? Makes no sense. It doesn't add up. So you should think and just appreciate the truth for what it is. Accept it. I know you will one day, even if you don't today. You're going to accept it because this is the truth, and I'm here to tell you it. Thank you very much.
Yeah, 5 to 7 years.
The tree is 5 to 7 years old. 5 years old.
Yeah.
To 7 years old. Okay. And the cleaning from this is in here. The cleaning powder is inside here.
Yeah.
I see.
Cái ống nó lại sôi cái đó là cái xác nó lại sôi cái đó.
So they just confirmed that this is exactly as I had suspected the whole time and all along, that these trees are being systematically planted in Vietnam, and this is plantation agarwood. However, some people, depending on who you talk to, they'll tell you this is wild, it's not plantation, look at the resin, look at the smell. However, you can see if you do a bit of digging that it is indeed the case. So, still, I mean, this would create a beautiful oil if you distilled it. It's not to say that the oil will not be very good. It's just a question of transparency with the market. That's all we're trying to drive home here is the point. This is plantation agarwood, and we still can make a good oil out of it, and we're not going to lie to you and say this is wild. Very simple. It's not from a 70 or an 80 or 90 or 100-year-old tree. It's from a 5 to 7-year-old tree, and this is what the wood looks like. Take a look.
Em mình giới thiệu luôn cái loại tốt không? 50 triệu là loại.
That's impressive. I mean, for a 5 to 7-year-old tree, that is indeed impressive. I am impressed. Okay. But when people sell this as wild, there is something that is disingenuous in that marketing. The advertising claim is fake, so that needs to be corrected. That is the entire point, the entire controversy in the oud community right now is this misinformation that's out there, and we're here to correct that.